Morning, it's June 30th, and this is To My Liberal Friends. Last Friday, the Supreme Court came down with a decision that will benefit the nation as a whole for years to come. This decision will hopefully put an end to federal district judges handing down decisions that they say will apply nationwide. This was never the intent of Congress when these judicial districts were created. The court's decision gave much more power to the executive branch, and the secondary effect would be to finally force Congress to start acting like a real legislative branch. The Founding Fathers set up a government with three equal branches. The legislative branch was supposed to write the laws, the executive branch to enforce the laws, and the judicial branch which ensure the laws comply with the Constitution. But for the past 30 plus years, we've watched the legislative branch cede more and more power to the executive branch. With Donald Trump, we have witnessed a judiciary that is showing just how politicized it has become. Because presidents nominate judges, it has to be assumed that they have some political beliefs that are similar to the person nominating them. But once they don those robes, they're expected to shed those political beliefs and simply address the law. But it's gone over the edge, and plaintiffs now engage what is known as forum shopping by filing their cases before judges that they believe will give them a favorable ruling. And both sides engage in this behavior. With this decision, lower courts will no longer be able to issue a universal injunction. By that I mean they cannot issue an injunction that bars enforcement of a presidential order nationwide. Instead, decisions in those district courts will only be binding upon the parties bringing the case before the district court. Justice Amy Coney Barrett succinctly made this point in her majority opinion. Quote, "A universal injunction can be justified only as an exercise of equitable authority, yet Congress has granted federal courts no such power." End quote. What was remarkable about her opinion was how she came full force on the minority opinion written by Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. She wrote that Justice Jackson said she would try to thwart, quote, "an imperial presidency by empowering an imperial judiciary instead." This decision was wrapped around the birthright citizenship case. The court has not yet settled this issue. The only thing they clearly decided was whether federal courts have equitable authority to issue universal injunctions, and Justice Barrett made it clear they do not. But if you think Democrats are going to give up, think again. They've been preparing for a decision that clips the wings of these activist judges and have a new strategy. Just hours after the court stripped these district judges of their authority, an immigrants' rights group moved to refile by certifying U.S.-born children of immigrants as a class. You'll see a lot of similar cases filed as class action cases. They will become the Democrats' next line of attack. There are some hurdles they will have to overcome. To receive certification, there must be enough members in a class that it would be impossible for everyone to join a single lawsuit. Class members must also have a singular legal claim and defense. But make no mistake, liberals and Democrats are realizing that the Supreme Court might not give them the relief they're seeking. The Supreme Court will consider in October the broader question of whether Trump has the authority to redefine the 127-year-old interpretation of citizenship established by the court itself. In 1898, the Supreme Court ruled the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, which states that, quote, "all persons born or naturalized in the United States are citizens of the country," guaranteed the citizenship of a Chinese-American cook named Wong Kim Ark. After a trip to China, the immigration official tried to deny Wong entry back into the U.S. under the Chinese Exclusion Act, which barred Chinese nationals from migrating to the U.S. at that time. But the court confirmed in a 6-2 decision that Wong was a citizen by birth, setting a precedent that birthright citizenship in the U.S. is universal. However, this is going to be one of the biggest decisions in the history of the court. The factors that are being considered revolve around a couple of terms, the most important one being country of jurisdiction. And I've said in the past that the court was correct in 1898 for the simple reason that the parents of Wong Kim Ark were in the United States legally at the time of his birth, according to the law at that moment in time. And that's the key issue here. If these people are here legally and their child is born, then the child should be a citizen. But if they're here illegally, then we are not the country of jurisdiction, and that child does not get citizenship, in my opinion. While liberals are screaming about the court curbing universal injunctions by district judges, they once again show their hypocrisy. When a district judge in 2023 blocked the FDA approval of the abortion pill Milverstone, President Biden and Democrats were outraged. A New York Times writer wrote, quote, "This lawsuit and this decision paint a chilling picture of how unconstrained corners of the federal judiciary have become," end quote. But I'm betting that same writer was cheering these recent decisions by district judges. In that case, the Supreme Court intervened to ensure the drug became available. and last year they unanimously tossed a lawsuit attempting to ban the drug. Now, I could cite several other cases where conservative judges overstepped their jurisdiction as well, and the court has overruled them. And that was fine with liberals, but when the court is consistent and restrains liberal judges, they cry foul. Politics as usual for Democrats and their liberal buddies, and the hypocrisy shines through. This has been To My Liberal Friends. Thanks for listening.